left playing Amalia combo versus Levi Gaines on our right playing mono red aggro, and aggro he is, starting with Den of the Bugbear into Monastery Swift Spear. Break down the aggro versus Amalia matchup for me here really quickly.
So this is a bit of a weird one. So you have on one side you have the mono red aggro deck, very straightforward, right? Trying to just deal as much damage as quickly as possible. On the other side you have Amalia combo, creature focused, creature based combo deck trying to set up Amalia plus Wildgrowth Walker. So under normal circumstances you would say, okay, well, red deck has removal spells, against the creature combo deck, and that's one way that the red deck can fight over it. But funny enough, Drake, there is 4 copies of Monstrous Rage in Levi Gaines' deck list. And for those of you at home who are not familiar with the combo, the way that the combo works is that once Amalia's power hits exactly 20, it blows up the board and therefore kills the Wildgrowth Walker, and the combo stops. But if you can make the Amalia have more than 20 power, it basically, if you can skip it and go from 19 to 21, it never blows up the board. And therefore, the combo never stops and the game ends in a draw. So I don't know if we're going to see that, but there is potential for that to happen in this matchup. And Levi, Levi might just say, I'm just going to kill you anyways. And maybe we won't even get to that spot. But that is sometimes how a common tactic that this red deck can use. But it looks like Levi's going to tap out here. Now, not super worried about getting comboed here because without an Innkeeper already in play, sure, you can play Amalia Walker, but you need a way to trigger a way to trigger it, either exploring or life gaining.
Right. Yeah. So very heads up, using the Play with Fire to pick off the Prosperous Innkeeper, not only stymieing some of the life gain potential that Harrison Camper's deck could have, but also stopping combo potential this turn. As here comes another Innkeeper, an important piece for Harrison to have if he wishes to begin to threaten the combo again. Deep Cavern back, hopefully to try to prevent himself from dying as he's facing down Slickshot Show Off, Monster Swift Spear in play. And in hand is the Monstrous Rage you talked about and Slickshot Show Off as we take a look at the very powerful Bat from Lost Caverns of Ixalan, 1/1 flying lifelink. Does a Mesmeric Fiend impression, enters the battlefield and exiles a non-land card from the opponent's hand until it leaves the battlefield. And skewer the critics to draw for Levi.
It's not a bad one. Levi is in a weird spot though, because you have the Slickshot Show Off that you want to cast. So you can go, Slickshot Show Off. Maybe you go to combat, attack with all. I guess what you could do is you can go cast Slickshot. Yeah, go to combat, attack with all 3. But then if you skewer the Bat, you actually don't have the mana. Oh, you do, because you can play the Mountain this turn, right? The Mountain's from the light up the stage. So Levi can go play the Slickshot, attack with all 3, post combat, kill the Bat, hold up the Rage with that 1 mana left over. And it looks like that is maybe what we're lining up here. So we go to combat. Yeah. It's also entirely possible that Levi wants to hold the... Yeah, okay, we are going to do that. We're going to kill... I think I might have been pointing at the Prosperous Innkeeper. Interesting.
And did we...
We might have forgot about that land.
We chose not to play the Mountain. And where did... Oh, the Monstrous Rage got taken. Right. So yeah, we went after... The land's not going to matter if you take care of the Prosperous Innkeeper. So this does some amount to hedge against the combo, but not really, because you can just attack with the Bat to trigger the life gain. So we still have that dialed up. So if the combo's available, it can happen right now, and the game would very likely be over. Now, I would assume with this attack that is not the case, as Harrison Camper going to go up to 11, add Mana Confluence to the mix, which not the land you want to see in the mono-red aggro matchup, but gets the job done if you do have a combo going. Wildgrowth Walker looking to be about to be deployed.
Yeah, slight misstep from Levi, and that land is pretty important too, because you want the land. Oh, that's a pretty good blocker in Sentinel, the Nameless City. But that land might have been able to eventually get to a spot where Levi can start activating the Den or the Ramunap Ruins as well. So Levi's going to need a pretty good one at the top here. Now with 2 Slickshots in play, any spell is representing a ton of damage here. So it looks like, I think it might have been a Gitu Lava Runner. Not exactly the spell that Levi's
doesn't add a lot to the mix, like you said. So yeah, I mean, the Slickshots need some spells, and the map will allow an Explore to happen from the Sentinel of the Nameless City. So if you just let Harrison untap, a lot of life gain available with this Wildgrowth Walker plus Sentinel of the Nameless City, and that could be a big problem for Levi Gaines. Now, like I said, we can add a Gitu Lava Runner if that is the draw to the battlefield, and maybe that makes attacking look a little bit more precarious if you're Harrison Camper. But like we mentioned, still a lot of potential life gain if Harrison's allowed to untap with his board untouched.
Yeah, and this is part of the matchup is so bad from the red side is you have not only do you have to worry about the constant pressure of like the actual combo happening, but also Harrison just gains so much incidental life along the way, right? You have the map token with the Sentinel. So now you're in a spot where Harrison could even just pop the map, two walkers in play now.
Oh, Walker.
Pop,
Walker's
yeah, Harrison's just pop it.
Levi's not interested. He says, "All right, I'm good. There's going to be
Love
multiple
it.
maps involved, multiple
Respect.
triggers, life gain." Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of respect for people that know when they're dead. You mentioned the matchup going to be pretty tough in the main deck for exactly that reason. Wild Growth Walker presents so much incidental life gain alongside other things like Prosperous Innkeeper, the Deep Cavern Bat, stuff like that, because that's what sets the combo off. That makes the main deck matchup pretty hard, which means we have to go to our sideboard to look for help. So with that, let's take a look at Levi Gaines' mono red aggro deck list and specifically his sideboard for things that may help. And I think we have quite a few tools. We have 3 Rending Volley, 3 Rampaging Ferocidon, 2 Witch Stalker Frenzy, 2 Magebane Lizard, 2 Tears of Valakut, 2 Case of the Crimson Pulse, and 1 Companion Gigantha, the Wellspring. All right, Devin, what do you like against the Amalia deck from the aggro side?
So a lot of white creatures white creatures that are very important to the combo, specifically Amalia. So Rending Volley seems like a pretty good slam dunk. Rampaging Ferocidon also phenomenal because you not only sort of stop that incidental life gain because you have the life gain from Prosperous Innkeeper and Lunarch Veteran, but also you're kind of turning that life gain into reverse life gain, essentially dealing a damage every single time that Harrison decides to play a creature. And then the Witch Stalker Frenzies as well, just additional removal. Also, removal that specifically kills the 3/4 Sentinel, the Nameless City. And that can be, 4 toughness can be kind of a barrier for this mono red deck.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, we talked earlier to Eric Koenig and talking about his sideboard options. He mentioned the Rampaging Ferocidon split because of Amalia. And here you can see the mono red aggro deck very much respecting Amalia with 3 copies. The Ferocidon is likely among the better options in the sideboard. So expect to see those. With that, let's take a look at Harrison Camphor and the Amalia deck he has brought to defend his leaderboard position. Looks pretty traditional as far as I can tell with the current Amalia list, but a lot of 4-ups to the sideboard. We got 4 copies of Thoughtseize, 4 copies of Fatal Push, 2 Liliana of the Veil, 1 Aven Interrupter, 1 Haywire Might, 1 Knight of Dusk's Shadow, 1 Skyclave Apparition, and 1 Get Lost. What do you like against the aggro matchup?
So from the Amalia side of things, you kind of expect your opponent to be boarding in a bunch of the Rampaging Ferocidons. So you probably want to go towards those Fatal Pushes and the 1 Skyclave Apparition so that you can have a way to tutor for an answer to Rampaging Ferocidon. You could also consider going towards the Get Lost, another answer to it. Past that, I don't think there's a ton else that Harrison needs to go for. Just wants to make sure he has enough mix of answers to the Ferocidon because that's really the only card that he's super worried about.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me. It seems to be one of the more important cards of the matchup. The life gain is really not only what helps you stay alive against the aggro matchup, but what sets off the combo as well. Can't gain life, can't really start the combo. And that's going to be very much the name of the game as we move into game number 2 with Levi Gaines on mono red aggro. Once again on the play, Harrison Camphor on the mulligan. Again, both of these players have X and 1, looking to punch their ticket into the top 8 of the 5K trial here in St. Louis. And again, Harrison Camphor, if things ended today, he is number 5 on our leaderboard, and he would qualify for the NRG championship if things ended as they stood right now. But unfortunately, that's not how any of this works. So he is here to defend his spot, defend his position in the championship against would-be usurpers. All of which usually you can see every round on our players to watch. And up a game here, looking to be doing quite a good job with his choice of Amalia combo.
Yeah, there's some interesting main deck choices here for Harrison that we didn't quite touch on, but there's 1 copy of Ruthless Lawbringer and 2 copies of Lively Dirge. Really kind of cool additions from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Lawbringer being a way to just, again, similar to Skyclave, where you can tutor for it, and then it says enter the battlefield, you can sacrifice a creature to destroy target non-land permanent, so kind of get you a little bit additional removal spells. And then Lively Dirge being this kind of weird way to help set up the combo. You can sort of entomb for a Wild Growth Walker and then also return multiple creatures from the graveyard to the battlefield. So interesting main deck decisions here from Harrison as we see a flip card. I believe that is Kumano. Yep, that's going to be a Kumano. So relatively decent start here for Levi, especially if there is a Spectacle card to follow that up with the damage from the Kumano.
And there sure is. It's going to be light up the stage. Basically, the best one, revealing Wizard's Lightning and
Oh.
Monstrous Rage. An
Oh.
aggressive start here for Levi. As light up the stage, remember, you can play them till the end of your next turn. Monstrous Swiftspear are going to be laying the beatdowns for 3 damage,
Well,
not choosing to block with the Lunarch Veteran.
Kind of a problem here. Monastery Swiftspear, as good as the card is, does not have the wizard creature type. So if Levi wants to cast that Wizard's Lightning discounted, gonna need an additional follow-up, either Soulscar Mage, or the other one that I can't remember the name of, Gitu Lava Runner.
Get you Lava Runner. There you go. Yeah. So yeah, keep in mind, Slick Shot Show Off, also a wizard, but would need a land to pair all that together. So Soulscar Mage, get you Lava Runner, Slick Shot Show Off, all wizards. As Prosperous Innkeeper joins the fray, and with Lunarch Veteran, going to gain a little bit of life back coming in. So this is part of the power, the staying power that this Amalia deck has access to, is these Soul Sister type effects that whenever creatures enter, you gain life. Both creatures in play for Harrison have that line of text. So going to need to get way more aggressive, as here comes an attack with Monstrous Swiftspear, Monstrous Rage to give it that monster roll, and a pile of damage coming across once again.
Yeah, and I gotta look at Levi's hand and draw step. I think Levi had a Wizard's Lightning and drew another Wizard's Lightning for turn. So 2 Wizard's Lightning in hand and 1 in exile. None of those can be cast because there is no wizard. So kind of a bit unfortunate sequence of draws here for Levi.
Yeah, no third land even to really start doing it the manual way. And here comes Wild Growth Walker. If Amalia is the follow-up, it might just be combo time. 2 life here from both the Veteran and the Innkeeper. And that's just how things start as the 1/3 blocker is added to the mix. Canfer up to a, I'd say somewhat precarious 13, but with Levi missing land drops, things are problematic. Slick Shot Show Off the draw.
Yeah, I was gonna say if Canfor goes for the combo, do we have the Monstrous Rage to draw the game? Not sure if we do, and Levi might be kind of maybe pressured into tapping out for a Slick Shot here just to get a little bit more pressure onto the battlefield. And if that's the case, Harrison very likely will just, if the Amalia is drawn, or if we have a Chord of Calling, because we do have 5 mana, remember, towards the Chord with 3 creatures, the treasure, and land. So that can represent Chord for Amalia, and then just combo at instant speed. And that's what makes this Amalia deck so powerful, is the ability to just play a lot of this grind game. You have a lot of cards that have 2-for-1s like Lunarch Veteran, Court of Call, or Collected Company, the Return of the Ranks, stuff like that. You can grind, you can threaten the combo at instant speed with Court of Calling. It's just this deck is extremely powerful.
Extremely powerful, extremely versatile, and as you mentioned, actually pretty good against Mono Red from just the incidental life gain, buying you so much time, even with the Monstrous Rages there to potentially draw the game. A lot of red removal spells in the form of all these burn spells. All this incidental life gain really starts to add up to be something a lot more meaningful, as far as just giving you so much more time. And like you said, abilities to return creatures, things like Return the Ranks and Lively Dirge. You just have a lot of flexibility against the aggro matchup, a lot of great blockers, a lot of incidental life gain. That's really the mix you're looking for against aggro most of the time. Levi doing a good job presenting quite a bit of damage here still, as Canfer is down to 9, as here comes Sentinel of the Nameless City. This is the combination that beat Levi in game 1.
Yeah, I love this too, because Harrison does have, I got a glimpse of Harrison's hand. He does have the Court of Calling. And this is a situation where Harrison says, okay, recognizing there is the potential for my opponent to have Monstrous Rage and draw the game. So what Harrison's going to say is, I'm just going to present some threats. If you ever decide to tap out, you're dead, because I'm just going to have the Court of Calling available for Amalia. But if you don't, I'm just going to try and keep my head above water for a little bit, maybe gain some life here and there, potentially even start pressuring you with the Sentinel now. So I very heads up play here for Harrison, recognizing that Monstrous Rage is potentially an issue.
Yeah, definitely. And here once again, Sentinel, the Nameless City, just a huge problem. It's just a lot of stats for three mana. We get an attack and get 2 damage across, lose the Monstrous Swiftspear and the Monstrous Roll, but that gives us light up the stage. We have 1 mana up still, representing potential Monstrous Rage. So I don't think Harrison's going to move here. Finally found 3rd land and 4th land. Maybe a little late to the party. Would love to plot the Slick Shot Show Off here, but just not. You can't tap out. You die on the spot, and Levi knows that. Has to pass the turn back, but I don't know that there's any good moves for Levi, as Harrison just untapping with Wild Growth Walker and Sentinel is so much life.
Yeah, what's funny about this too is there's like a little bit of a cat and mouse game where even if Levi doesn't have the removal, even if Levi doesn't have the piece of interaction to go for the combo, he's just gonna posture the whole time and make it so Harrison doesn't really ever like Harrison has to respect it. But then also even if Harrison is respecting it, like you said, this combination of Sentinel plus Walker means that there's zero chance that Harrison's gonna die and in the next couple of turns. He doesn't really have to go for the combo and risk drawing the game in a game where he's probably favored to win anyways.
Yeah, and that seems to be exactly the calculus he is doing as well as he does some exploring on the Sentinel of the Nameless City, which is going to grow the Wild Growth Walker. He did find a land off that, so no counters coming, but a ton of life coming. Back into healthy double digits goes Harrison Camphor, and attack means another map coming with the Vigilance Sentinel of the Nameless City. And so this is exactly the kind of have it covered from both axes that Harrison has. You tap out, you die to Amalia. You don't tap out, you just die to what's on the board. And that with Levi missing land drops previously, that's just very likely to be enough to get over the finish line as Levi's life total now starts to decline as the attacks are coming through. Harrison's life total growing and land drops still being played by Harrison. We'll see if Levi, can't even move on instep.
Yeah, and remember those Wizards Lightning still in hand for Levi. Just was the entire game unable to find one of the 12 Wizards. Now there is a Slick Shot in hand for Levi, so we can deploy that this turn and still represent some mana. But yeah, it's just like at this position, what exactly you're supposed to do because you need to hold up mana, but you also kind of need to continue to pressure. To like put up some pressure to at least threaten Harrison and make him do something. Because if you don't put any pressure, Harrison's just pretty content with keeping the board as it is.
Yeah, loves cracking these map tokens every turn with the attack, the Sentinels, and all that stuff, gaining all the life. I mean, there's a lot of issues. Now, once again, if he does get the Slick Shot developed, maybe we can start to use some of our mana every turn and also just represent a removal spell on Amalia. So we still have it actually checked, even if we don't have the Monstrous Rage, which actually does look like we do have the Monstrous Rage. So it's not just posturing here from Levi. He's got all spells in it. He was missing land drops. He's got spells. And now that he has 4 lands, can he start to mount something like a comeback? Slickshot's got to be how it starts. That's just so much damage that if you're going to overpower what's going on with the Wild Growth Walker, Sentinel, the Nameless City stuff, it can't be in small Swift Spears or flipped Kumano or anything like that. It has to be some of your real haymakers like Slickshot. Now the question is it going to be enough after all that? Not clear, but we'll see exactly. Levi's deep in the tank here.
Yeah, you could maybe go like Slickshot, cast one of the Wizard's Lightnings, and okay, I actually don't hate this. Because now Harrison's in a spot where do you respond to this and go for the Amalia? And then if Harrison does go for the Amalian response, then you have access to the Monstrous Rage. But Harrison does have a Fatal Push in hand, so we can just pop the treasure and then use the Revolt to kill that Rampaging Ferocidon.
Yeah, it looks like that's what we're going to do here. We're going to go ahead and take care of that Ferocidon. No thank you, says Harrison. And now we're going to move. We are going to Court of Calling for X's 2 here.
Wait, Drake, I think, well, I mean, maybe we don't go for Amalia, but if we do, we might see a draw here.
I mean, come on, just grabbing like another, I don't know, like Sentinel or whatever has got to, or another Wild Growth Walker has got to be probably better than just grabbing the Amalia here and potentially getting a draw. I mean, Harrison's done such a good job playing around it all game. Yeah, I would actually be pretty surprised if we're grabbing Amalia here.
Yeah, maybe just like a bat or something.
Oh, okay. All right, it's Amalia, so that means Harrison's got to have some kind of a plan for what's going on here. Now, if he has a backup Fatal Push, you can just like Fatal Push your own Amalia. Like you don't even have to really worry about it or anything like that, right?
I think both players know the last card in Harris's hand was a revealed Overgrown Tomb from the Explorers. So I think we actually know. I'm pretty sure, unless the Overgrown Tomb was played, but I thought there was a second Overgrown Tomb. And I'm going to be honest with you, Drake. I think we're in for a draw right now.
Oh no, there's no way! Come on, not a draw. All right, hold on. Let's take a look. Let's take a look what we got going on here. So here we go. We're starting the combo because the Innkeeper and the Veteran are going to give you 2 life when it enters. Separate triggers. So resolving the first is going to start the chain with the Wild Growth Walker. And Levi says, yeah, okay, sure. And so we're going to begin to start the exploring chain. So here is Prosperous Innkeeper. So now we have to go through all the motions, which is maybe kind of a mess. All right, yeah, we're just going to put all the explorers from right now in a separate pile. I appreciate that, Harrison, as there's a Fatal Push to the bin. There's another Amalia to the bin. Yeah, we're going through this very quickly. Cord to the bin. Where are the lands? There's one. Land goes to hand.
Oh, okay. We're using the die to represent the number of counters on it. Okay, I appreciate this. And then we're just going to count it all up after. This makes sense.
Yeah, this makes sense. So the lands go to hand, the spells go to bin, and he's going to leave that one on top the whole time. So we actually do want to draw the Aether Flux. So now, that doesn't matter because the game's still a draw because we have the Monstrous Rage. And Harrison.
My goodness.
Oh my God! That's just a draw?
Yep, that's a
draw. Oh my God!
How do we represent a draw on the? I don't think we have a way to.
Well, they
don't
matter for the record, right?
Yeah, I know.
So, I mean, there's no real motivation to. Okay, we're rebuilding the board.
Oh, now it's going on.
Okay, it's judge time. We're checking on the Monstrous Rage thing. I don't understand. It is perplexing to me to have played around it so masterfully the entire game and then just jam it on the instep. Was it finally just calling the bluff saying, okay, I don't think you actually have it?
Well, even if you've decided that you even if you assume that they don't have the Monstrous Rage, is there any reason to go for it? Like you're so far ahead with the Walker and the Sentinel. Levi has basically no battlefield. I'm curious as to what the reason is to go for it there. Like you're already far ahead enough. You have the Sentinel triggering both Walkers every turn. I don't know. Maybe just Harrison, decided that he just maybe didn't think he didn't have it. I don't know. It's a very interesting spot.
Yeah, I'm kind of a guy. I don't know. I'm shocked. I find myself more or less at a loss for words. But so walking you through this. So now this is a draw. Mm-hmm. And next game is just going to go the same way, right? With Levi on the play. Play draw doesn't flip. And we're in the same spot. Nothing happens. We've accomplished all of that for nothing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly. You are correct.
Yeah, I'm just checking. Okay. I guess before we dive in, take a brief moment to review the deck list as these players are shuffling up. We're going to go over this very quickly because I don't think we're going to see too much sideboard changes. So if you're Harrison, let's pretend for a minute that he did not understand the Monstrous Rage thing was going to happen to him. Is there any changes you make? I mean, we saw the Fatal Pushes. Are you at all ever interested in Thoughtseize in the matchup, even though it's an aggro matchup, just to look out for those?
I don't know. I mean, maybe you could consider like a couple of copies, but I think that, you just kind of want to play your own game. Usually a card that we've seen a lot in Amalia sideboards is the protection spell, I can't remember the name, Tamiyo Safekeeping, which is a card that Harrison does not currently have. And I'd be much more interested in that to kind of like protect your creature against the removal spells. But yeah, I don't think you want to go towards Thoughtseize here.
Makes a lot of sense to me. And if we want to take a quick look as these players are still shuffling up the mono red aggro list from Levi Gaines, we did see a little bit of the sideboarding there. We saw Rampaging Ferocidon among the mix. Didn't see a lot of other stuff, though, to be honest with you. We expected to see maybe some Rending Volleys, and you mentioned maybe the Witchstalker Frenzy, stuff like that. The Ferocidon came in, looked good, had to be answered with Fatal Push, and then that we didn't really see much else sideboarding. These players are underway, starting with a Soulscar Mage for Levi Gaines off of Den of the Bugbear, and Harrison going to start with an untapped Overgrown Tomb. I smell Fatal Push.
Oh, untapped? Could be anything.
Could be anything. A lot of instants at 1 green or 1 black in the Amalia deck. As here comes a second Soulscar Mage, no prowess committed. And I actually appreciate that play from Levi a lot. Being like, okay, whatever, you're just going to shock yourself. You've done the work for me. I'll just hit you for 1 or whatever, play another one. Like, you want to hold up your banner. You're not getting me. As here comes Prosperous Innkeeper, going to generate a treasure.
Levi definitely knows what is going on here, especially after, Harrison shocking and seeing the Fatal Pushes from game 1. So we're going to deploy a Kumano here. That's going to give us a prowess trigger. And like game 1, maybe we have a follow-up Spectacle card here. And looks like a Wizard's Lightning, which is, I'll get a little bit of prowess, get that Prosperous Innkeeper off the battlefield. For folks at home, it does show this is game 2. This is actually game 3, technically, for those of you just tuning in. But, here we are. And Sentinel of the Nameless City. This card is very, very important because it is one of the few ways, like one of the few cards in Harrison's deck that actually sort of sizes on the battlefield well enough against these creatures. But Soulscar Mage has some flavor text on it, Drake, that may or may not be relevant in terms of combat with Sentinel. Yeah,
flavor text, I'd say it's a little bit more than that. Yeah, actually able to permanently shrink creatures is the Soulscar Mage. Get it? Because it's scarring your soul with the burn. So any Wizard's Lightning get involved. This 3/4 can very quickly start to shrink with any kind of burn spells that get involved in combat here. Now, it does involve going after the creatures more with the removal spells, as Levi does go ahead and buy Gigantha here. with
Ew.
his mana, choosing not to make any attacks, just passing the turn. So he does have a Wizard's Lightning. This makes me think he's holding it for any Wild Growth Walker considerations, saying, hey, I'm not concerned about attacking right now. I just don't want you to start gaining piles of life, as another map token made by the attack from the Vigilanting Sentinel, the Nameless City. A lot of stats for 3 mana, 3/4 Vigilance that makes map tokens when it attacks. A lot of mana up. I smell Court of Calling or Collected Company.
Yeah. The Coco was revealed, right? The Coco was revealed to the Explorer
Right.
last turn. So both players do know about the Coco. So, I mean, Harrison just has everything. Harrison has Cord and Coco. So has a lot of options here, kind of the whole world at his disposal, and really depending on what Levi does, which I for Levi's sake, I hope it's not tap out for Jegantha.
Yeah, tap out for Jegantha would not be the move, as here is the Instep Collected Company that was more or less face up as it was seen off the Explorer. I see Amalia among the mix.
Those look good.
And another Sentinel, the Nameless City, the final card off. That another one could be meaningful.
I think it's Amalia Specialist here, because you can go Amalia Specialist, get back Innkeeper, and that sets you up for even if you have Amalia Innkeeper without the Walker, it's still every single creature triggers the Amalia, triggers the Explorer. So yeah, looks like that's what Harrison is lining up. But this is the situation where the red deck feels like it is pressured into holding up mana to prevent the combo, and Harrison's just like, I don't have to go for the combo. I could just put all of these value creatures onto the battlefield. The Sentinel, the Extraction Specialist. Like, look at this. We're just putting 2/3 drops into play, and Harrison's just going to start attacking with them.
Look at me. I'm the aggressive deck now, says Harrison Canfer with his attack force of multiple Sentinel, the Nameless Cities, and of course Extraction Specialist, which is going to bring back Prosperous Innkeeper, granting another treasure for Harrison. And he can still Cord on Instep if he wants to. And I think this is a combo if he does, right?
No, because we don't have the Walker.
Right. We would. Oh, we didn't. Well, we didn't take Amalia off of the Coco.
We didn't take Amalia.
So if we took Amalia off the Coco, we could Cord for Walker, but then we draw the game again. So we're just going to find the Walker, no Amalia, and start to get that cooking, as we have 3 map tokens to work with. That's 9 life, and that's before attacks. So Levi needs to do something about this.
Yeah, I almost wonder if Harrison was like, I could go for the combo here, but after what happened in the last game, he's just having flashbacks and just never wants to go for it again.
Yeah, he's like, I'm good. We're just going to beat... He learned his lesson. I'm just going to beat you down with the Sentinel of the Nameless Cities. I don't need to get cute with the combo. We're just gonna do some of this, as Wizard Lightning is going to take care of the Wild Growth Walker. I would argue a necessity if Levi wants to stay in this game.
Yeah, but now we can just start mapping onto the 3/2 lifelinker, and we already have the 2 Sentinels that Levi has no good blocks against. This, even without the combo, and you start to see why this matchup is such a disaster for the red deck. It's even without comboing, it's just like, look at, there's another Specialist on top. What is Levi supposed to do against that?
I guess whatever he can. Hope that some good draw steps go. Yeah, this is a tough spot. As you mentioned, the counters going onto the life linking creature, just more incidental life gain baked into the Amalia combo deck, and really showing why it is kind of did a good job shutting off the aggro decks. Now, some decks like Console with all the flyers and stuff can start to combat on a different axis. Mono red aggro doesn't really have that option outside of Slickshot Show Off. Only 4 of those in the deck. The rest of the cards, as you mentioned, don't line up great, especially against 3/4s for 3 with Vigilance. And definitely not against a 6 power lifelink attacker. 4 mana. Oh, is this Witchstalker Frenzy? Oh no, it's Sokenzen. Okay. Gonna channel Sokenzen.
So you can make some chump blockers, but I don't know how much the chump blockers are doing on this battlefield now, especially versus a 6/5 lifelink. You have a 6/5 lifelink, 2 3/4s, and still 2 map tokens left over. This is not entirely sure what Harrison, even if there was a card in Magic that was not legal in the Pioneer format, I guess maybe like Bonfire of the Damned, but even at that point, I'm not sure.
Fire Blast. We need like 2 Fire Blasts and a Slick Shot. What do we have? 2 cards in hand? Okay, that's not good enough. So we're looking to play Jegantha. I think we drew Skewer the Critics. Oh, okay. Wild Growth Walker is actually exiled because of the flipped Kumano, which matters for Extraction Specialist, I suppose. As here, okay, we're calling a judge on this real quick before we play Jegantha. Just to verify that. So yeah, I believe that is correct. This is a replacement effect, and there likely will be a failure to maintain for both players. We've seen this kind of stuff happen before. Lots of effects in Magic Exile. You have to remember to actually do that, and it is on both players to remember to do that. If I remember correctly.
No, so I believe the Soul Scar Mage, because it's putting -1/-1 counters on the walker, I think it's not technically damaged because the damage gets replaced by the counter. So I don't think it's actually exiled.
Okay, well, maybe it's a complicated ruling. Well, I'll tell you what, the judge will figure it out.
One.
And overall, I can't imagine it having a high impact on this game. I mean, actually, it will. There's an extraction specialist on top of Kampfer's library that he left there from some explorers. And so if he left that there with the knowledge that, hey, I'm going to get this Wild Growth Walker back, it actually matters quite a bit. But as far as the actual result of this game, I don't imagine it having too much of an impact, because if Levi's only play is Gigantha, I mean, that doesn't really battle against a 6/5 lifelinker very well at all. As here does come Gigantha, and that Wild Growth Walker did stay in the graveyard, so I believe they came to the same conclusion you did. Counters, not damage, stays in graveyard.
I was gonna say maybe Gigantha can trade, but yeah, they get lost, and you can even just map token onto the specials, and Harrison's just like, nah, we're good, yeah, and Levi's.
Yeah, Levi's he's seen enough. He's had enough. He's seen enough. Kampfer going to win this game 2-0-1 over Levi Gaines and his mono red aggro strategy, which puts Kampfer at 5-1, doing an excellent job defending his number 5 spot on the leaderboard and his invite to the end of year in RG Championship. So we are going to talk to Kampfer really quickly about his thoughts, his run, and his defense, I guess, of his position with his Amalia combo deck. And you mentioned some of the spice he chose to play as well from the Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Get a chance to talk about those cards as well. So, as I mentioned before, this is the end of round number 6. So this is the penultimate round. This is a 7-round event before we cut to top 8. We will be watching all of the top 8 today, and we will be crowning a champion, of course, who will earn all of the points, an invite to the RC, $1,200, all the various prizes, all of the Ultimate Guard swag that comes with a very successful finish here on the NRG series, as Ultimate Guard is our official sponsor. So a lot on the line as far as tangible prizes, and a lot on the line as far as points go, as is what to come with the end of season. So lots to play for these players, and we're finally coming down to the final rounds of Swiss and starting to look at a top 8, and Kampfer looking very, very good to be among that mix of players.
Absolutely.
You know, with that out the way, let's see. Okay, we're still getting Kampfer ready here and ready to go. So before we, I guess, move on down and talk to him a little bit about playing Amalia, which is surprisingly, I'd say, absent in the field. We talked a little bit before the show started about Rakdos Vampires and the Izzet Phoenix decks as kind of the top dogs, but that wasn't always the case. Prior to some of the RCs that were pioneering things like that, it seemed like Amalia was kind of a breakout deck looking to take over the format. There were calls for bans, and it seems like many players haven't chose to place the deck. Devin, do you have any opinions on Amalia before we jump down into Kampfer and he can tell you how wrong you are?
Well, I think he's ready to go. So let's kick it on over to him and have him tell us all about it.
All right. Well, there we go. Hey, welcome. Congratulations.
Oh, thanks.
So talk to me a little bit. I was about to ask Devin actually all about the Amalia deck, a deck that has kind of fallen from grace in Pioneer, I'd argue, in its short time around. With Rakdos Vampires, Izzet Phoenix being viewed as the top deck? You're here defending your number 5 spot on the leaderboard. You chose Amalia. Talk to me about the thought process.
I'd love to give more credit to it. I was likely playing Quint 2 weeks ago, and I just felt I didn't have any agency in games. You'd get Thoughtseize, and this had like a 55% win rate against the format, and felt like it had a good Rakdos and Vampires matchup, and just put it together on Friday, and it's like my first time playing it. So tried to execute the combo a couple times in paper. Like in that last game, I didn't even consider the fact that they can jumpstart my Amalia. I should have just gone for a Wild Growth Walker, but I'm not super familiar with the deck and the play pattern, so kind of walked into that one. But it is like 4% win rate above most of the field, and just kind of stumbles into wins on 3. So
yeah, very, very, very extremely powerful deck. There's some new cards here from Outlaws of Thunder Junction that you chose to play too. There's 1 Ruthless Lawbringer and 2 Lively Dirge. Maybe some cards that people are not necessarily used to if they're playing Amalia. Talk to me about those card choices.
So I was not super impressed with Skyclave because it was double white, and I just wanted a tutorable way to answer stuff, but want to cast it when I draw, and also have something that can answer a Quakebringer or Vein Ripper if I need to beat stuff on the ground. So that would just took over Skyclave's spot. Lively Dirge is just an additional copy of Return to the Ranks and like a Coco, just to have more variety in the options, and it more reliably combos if you have like one piece in the yard rather than you Cocoing and finding 2 Lunark Veterans.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. And we didn't see them manifest in those games, but yeah, I mean, just having that powerful entomb effect. And of course, you're quite good at making mana with the treasures and the prosperous and keepers and stuff like that. I'm shocked, honestly, that you're telling me this is your first time playing the deck. I thought you did a great job navigating a lot of those games and even navigating through the Monstrous Rage. We were kind of speculating that you were playing around that. Is that the first time this entire tournament you've even seen the draw happen?
You know, I've
people play for it.
I've seen it on coverage. I know I can do it with a Selfless Savior, but it just
Okay.
It was like not really on my radar. I know Quint can do it at instant speed, and I just assumed they had a Rending Volley. They were going to fire it off, and then I did the combo, and then I realized we had to play a third game, and I could have just got a Wild Growth Walker and gained like 12 life that turn, but decided to play a third game for the coverage.
We appreciate
yeah, this is it's just a flex, and what a flex it was. I mean, the Sentinel, the Nameless City, all of the just default modes, I guess, of your creatures look to be more than enough in both the game that you had drawn and that third game. Just able to lay the beatdowns, gain you some life with all your instant life game. The matchup, I mean, quite frankly, looked very, very good for you, and you were very favored in the game you drew, and then just went ahead and won a third game for style points as well. So congratulations, I guess, to you on that.
Thank you.
So yeah, that'll do it there for round number 6. So do you have any final shout outs, I guess, before we let you go? Congratulations on your performance. I imagine we're going to be seeing you in the top cut of this event. I don't want to make too much speculation, but you have quite a good record and you've done a very good job with your Amalia deck. Any final shout outs before we let you go?
I just want to thank everyone on my team, Level Up. They've all been super helpful. Testing questions, just having people to bounce stuff off of, and card availability, and making me not play bad decks.
Yeah, that's paid off big time. Like I said, I think, and I don't want to speculate too much, but I believe that locks you up for the Energy Championship. A top 8 means that you can't be caught. So Tim Hatch, his only spot, the one that is potentially at large for other people hungry. You did a successful job defending your invite to the Energy Championship. So not only will we see you a little bit more today, also see you a little bit more throughout the year on the Energy Series. Congratulations on that. And like I said, I hope to see you the rest of the day in these elimination rounds.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, with that exciting stuff, Harrison Camphor did an awesome job. And like I said, first time I guess he's had his game drawn with his Amalia deck, but didn't matter anyway. A good game for it, a good matchup, I guess, for it to have happened to him because it appeared to be very good for him. But that will do it there for round number 6. So with that, we will be leading into the final round, I believe, after a short break. And then we will have our top 8 and we can crown a champion. And of course, we can award 2 players, of which I believe Harrison is now more or less guaranteed to be one of, their tickets to the end of the year NRG Championship. So a lot of exciting stuff left to do today. A lot of high stakes Pioneer left to play today. So do not go anywhere. And of course, remember to follow and subscribe to support our channel. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
「旅の始まりは常に道への一歩である」「それは闇へと続く」「初めの一歩を踏み出すには勇気がいる」「そして旅の終わりには旅を始めた時の自分とは別人になっているかもしれない」「旅に出よう。物語の次の章がお主を待っている」将軍の道を歩め侍の箱とともにアルティメットガードが送る冒険の第一章刀将軍の道近日発売
The energy at these events is, it's really welcoming. You walk in, people know your name. Hey, how's it going? Long time no see.
Vendors, artists, a big tournament, side events.
The Energy Series events are free to enter. You can just walk through the door, the round starts, it's game time. You know, you're friends, but you're competitors.
The pressure's on, basically from round 1. You know you're gonna be running into quality players.
They're friendly, but they're fierce.
It's a great circuit. It's a lot of fun to play.
I noticed the Witch King was here this time, which was a little bit scary because I put the One Ring in my deck. Really had to sort of glance behind my shoulder every time I cast the card to make sure he wasn't about to snatch it, or me.
The vendors here are great. Everyone behind the booth is always really welcoming. They always have a smile on their face.
The events are taking place all over the Midwest. You've got the prize wall now, you've got the command zone. Every single energy is both a RCQ and a qualifier for their championship series at the end of the year, which is, I have to say, hands down, my favorite experience I've ever had playing Magic.
It's really just a great experience.
The NRG series is coming to a Midwest city near you.